Alright, we're gonna harvest some comfrey. Okay, here we go again. Turn number, turn number 6 of my 2019 aerobic composting effort. How could I forget that? You know, I guess I was pretty busy today. I was going over some of the School of Permaculture design course. It's actually a live course, but I haven't been participating in the live stuff. First of all, I didn't get the email. I don't know why. I didn't get the first email to open it up. And I'm not very proficient on the computer. I mean, I can get around on it, but I don't know half the stuff that goes on behind the scenes with it. It's just, to me, it's just click and type. So it's taking me a little bit to get that in my head as to how to get logged into the live sessions. I think I might get it now, but already there are 5 sessions that are logged, and that's what I'm going over right now. And I think it's happening every day, and I'm not sure I could do every day because I got things going on. But I will say this much: it's been informative. The one I just finished with now talked about doing design, actual like paper copy designs, or making them on computers. We touched base on some of that stuff. It's pretty interesting because I never really did that. Okay, we're going over this movement here again. In case this is the first video you've logged into. I am taking this point. This was the very last end of the last composting effort, and what I did was I raked up all the large balls that fell off, rolled down to the bottom, to the ground, and I raked them all up and put them right here in the point. And in the past, I've been just taking that and just moving it over 6 inches or something and creating some slots, and then began to build my pile over it. But I realized that this ends up being the end of the pile, and I don't think there's as much action right there. The bacteria needs to have a depth to work, and I don't think I was getting it deep enough because of the angle of compost repose. So now I did this the last flip, and I didn't even get that video up yet, but I kind of put this to the side, and I think this is working better. So now I've got more active material right here, and that's going to be the start of the pile. It's going to be more in the end. And then once I get this slot created, then I'll fork this larger material into that slot, so it'll be more in the middle, more underneath, more to where the bacteria likes to work. So I also have 2 other ingredients to add this time. I got a lot more that I'm going to be doing, but I'm running out of time tonight. So this right here is just, this is creating a little more garden space, and this is the sod that she has taken out, and this sod is going to go into the pot. That's probably enough to start right there, just that 1 forkful. Then over here I have comfrey that I just harvested from my backyard. Okay, let's get this thing rolling. Now, it's been 2 days since I flipped it, and you could get really specific about this and take temperature readings and flip it every time it hits 155 degrees, and you'll probably be flipping it more often, assuming that you built it correctly. and it'll get done quicker. But I haven't ever taken any temperature measurements. In the beginning, I used to go off the feel of it. You stick your hand in it a little ways, and you can barely hold it there. It's hot, but you can kind of hold it there, even though it's really hot. Then you know you're there. Now I don't even do that. I can just tell by looking at this. We got a little white mold this time. Actually, it's not mold. I was informed by another permaculture guy that there is a bacteria that creates a white appearance. And you'd think it was mold, but it's not. This is actually a bacteria. And it's a pretty good one. It works under a little higher temperatures. So, speaking of higher temperatures, you really don't want it to get much past 170, because then you begin to turn it back to being anaerobic, and you're getting out of the range of what this aerobic bacteria likes to work in. So, ooh, this looks really nice here. I think I'm going to make my slot. Now I'll put a little bit of comfrey on it. I got lots of comfrey. Comfrey traditionally has just fired these piles right up. There's a lot of nitrogen in comfrey, and a lot of other minerals as well. It's actually known as a mineral accumulator. Some people call it a biodynamic mineral accumulator. And what I am impressed with is it actually does store a little bit of iodine. And even though there isn't a lot of iodine here around the Great Lakes, there is some, and this comfrey actually will accumulate a little bit. So that's a positive. Alright, let's get some medicine in this slot. Okay. Comfrey. Pile it out thick. I actually had a little issue with my water tank. One of the pedestals, the support beam that goes across, actually rolled off. So I had to drain all the water it had out of it. That's why I've got a barrel full right now. That's okay. This sawdust sucks up a lot of water. And this water here is actually a mixture. It's mostly rainwater now, but there's some fermented comfrey juice in here, as well as kitchen discards. And because I have all this wood shavings in here, it's sucking up a lot of moisture. And I can tell it's breaking down. I can see it. Still really coarse. Still very coarse compared to some of the other past piles I've had, because there weren't any wood shavings in it. But it's doing its thing. I can see it. It's cold out here before, but I think it's warmed up a little bit. So I'm going to start sweating, I think. That's okay. Sweat some of those impurities out of me. So I think I got enough time to get this done before it's dark. I was talking about Nicholas Bertner from the School of Permaculture. He works out of Texas, close to Dallas. And I actually met him personally. I was down there on a business trip, and he came to where I was parked, and we had a couple hour discussion. I gave him some books he seemed to appreciate. And I actually was attracted to him because he took a permaculture design course. I think he went to Australia. And he actually learned under Bill Mollison, who's no longer with us. And I did business in Texas, so it's kind of natural for me to follow him a little bit. If any of you are listening are from Texas, you definitely should get in touch with Nicholas. I think he's starting a farm. He's got some land, so it's good he's going to apply the knowledge. He did apply the knowledge to his urban setting, and I watched some of his videos. He does have videos up too on YouTube. School of Permaculture, you get to him. So he's not just a teacher. Not that there's anything wrong with just being a teacher, because that takes a lot of effort too. But you know, I'm the kind of guy that acts, and to me, it's a little more interesting to get involved with somebody who acts. But that's, permaculture actually focuses on training teachers, because without teachers it's not going to go anywhere. And there are people who can take this course and just get the principles right away, and they're good at teaching, and they just start teaching. That's okay too. So the teacher that I had, his name is Jeff Lawton. He's got an online course. He actually has a full-fledged farm that is sustainable. Has the appearances to me of being sustainable. I haven't been there, so I shouldn't speak in certain terms, but it looks good. And when you're applying what you're teaching, I think it gives you a different perspective beyond just teaching a design course, because the design course again is focusing on the sciences and giving you an overview, giving you the terms and conditions of permaculture, which is based on a number of the sciences, all of them that pertain to being sustainable. And since I'm mentioning the word sustainable, let me define it for you. You can go online and search biological sustainability, which is basically the only way to be sustainable. And the definition that I use is natural succession. Not natural selection, natural succession. And in short, what that is the soil is diverse, and plants and animals that use it are diverse. And if one particular item dominates the landscape, sooner or later it's going to use up the elements that it relies on the most, and then it can no longer exist in a healthy fashion in that environment. So the succession part is, after it's finished doing its thing, and you know, the positive side of that is it might be taking elements, it might be taking too many elements out of a situation. It also adds elements that are in short supply. There are a lot of ways elements can get into a plant. Through the rainwater, through the atmosphere, through the animals, and if there is a short supply of an element, and it can live healthily with that short supply, sooner or later it's going to be accumulating these elements from other sources other than the soil, and it's going to build that element back into the soil. So on the negative side, it will use up or deplete an element that it needs the most. On the positive side, it will add elements that is already in short supply. That is what I mean by natural succession. And people talk about this regenerative thing, and yeah, no doubt it's better than what we have now. I mean, the agriculture as it exists now is very degrading of the biology. Specifically, I'm talking about chemical agriculture. And the regenerative people, they kind of think about, they want to utilize animals in the landscape, kind of like a replacement for mastodons, which is basically, you know, their main animal that they talk about are cattle. It can be any larger farm animal, but if you have those animals on the landscape too long, it does the same thing as the plants. It overuses elements that it requires for healthy life, and at some point in the future it just can no longer happen. And there are other factors involved, like, you know, normally if you got cows you don't have a lot of trees. I mean, you can have silvopasture or silviculture, but that has its limits as well. And I like silviculture. It's a good way to kick off an area in a natural succession, especially an area that maybe has been over depleted from chemical agriculture. You get the cows on the landscape for a time. Some areas, you know, it may take decades. It'll take decades of cattle. Some areas can't take cattle that long. Or maybe it's just a couple of years. And what you're looking for is to get their manure on the landscape. And, you know, like in the case of maybe goats, maybe we're knocking back some of these grass species and invasive species that have taken over that you're going to have to minimize to get natural succession going a little faster. I mean, sooner or later, the trees take over even the most invasive species, because, you know, they also deplete elements that they require. But we need to kind of speed this up a little bit, because everything is, not everything, but a lot has been degraded. The problem is, along with the degradation, is we have a growing human population. And the two are going to meet. Meaning there's going to be too many humans. There's not going to be enough live soil to grow crops to feed them all. And it's already happening in a lot of parts of the world. And that's the truth. Well, I poured a lot of water on this pile so far, and it just keeps sucking it up. This is the end here that I poured a lot of water on. And it's pretty good in the top because I think it's all migrating upwards. And as I get down in the pile, it's drier. kind of surprising because I poured so much water in it. So that's why, like one of the videos I described on, you're reading your tile and you're adjusting as you go. I got plenty of water. It's been raining a lot. So in the next couple days it's supposed to rain, especially tomorrow. I'll get a bunch more in my rainwater collection tank. I got a 55-gallon tank. And there's been a couple years that I've had a lot of rain and I haven't really needed a lot. Of course, it's handy because it's there and it's full of water. And anytime I need some for whatever project, like making comfrey tea or whatever, it's right there. It's in the tank. So even though I didn't need it for the garden because it's been raining, I can utilize it in other ways. And this 550-gallon tank is plenty for that when there's normal rainfall. Even when there's too much rainfall, I never get that tank down halfway. So some people might think, oh yeah, we get a lot of rain here. There's 40 inches of rain a year, and I don't need to have a big water tank. And I got backup in my wells or I got city water or whatever. Well, the wells and the city water cost money. And the city water, they put a lot of chemicals in there now. And what we're trying to do is enrich our soil life, where the chemicals they put in water, they want to destroy micro life. So, will you pour enough of that water on your soil to kill your soil life? Nah, I don't think so. But I think you'll affect it. So I don't think it's a good idea. Especially since, you can buy used tanks someplace pretty cheap. Now when that tank really comes in handy is when you have, you might have adequate rainfall for a month. You got a full tank, and then it's dry for a month. You can tell in your beds you're starting to dry out a little bit. Well, now you got water. You don't have to draw from the city or from a well, and it's free. And since it's from the atmosphere, I think it's a better water supply. Again, the city, does chemicals, and when you draw it out of the earth, there are other things that could be involved, like radon, or I don't know. There's lots of things. Whereas this rainwater comes from the atmosphere. And right away, I know some of you are thinking, well, there's pollution that's in the atmosphere, blah, 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 blah. Well, you're breathing that water out of that air. And if that hasn't killed you, then definitely the water isn't gonna. What's important is you have that water supply. That's free. Other than buying a tank, a couple of pipes to make sure the water gets from your downspout into the tank, and that's it. So, pile looks pretty good here. You can tell it's getting a little dry as it gets to the bottom. So that's an observation that as the bacteria works, the moisture migrates upwards. And because I have that tarp over the top, it's being held. So I don't have many more comfrey plants left to cut. And I do, what's this one? Giant Miscanthus. I bought that from Okios. I lost my train of thought. talking about comfrey. So the next time I'm going to be harvesting lots of burdock. I used to harvest a lot of garlic mustard this time of the year and put in them. But I don't have as much garlic mustard as I used to. And I did read a study on that. They think that the natural plants, the native plants, are now beginning to coexist with the enzymes or whatever it is that garlic mustard uses as a defense mechanism to slow down the growth of other plants. And that study just came out, I think, a year ago. And I'm definitely noticing it this year. Let's put a little water there. I'll show you how rich this water looks after it's been diluted like probably 100 to 1 already. That's nice. I should be pouring it on my garden, but I need it on this pile too. It poured down to the end here. I guess I'm out of focus here now, aren't I? I want that camera to fall again. Well, I've been in a hurry because it's getting darker, and I got plenty of time, and I'm almost done. Maybe I'll go back in and watch another of Nicholas's sessions. They've been about an hour and a half long. Because I didn't get on, I tried to get on one, and I did actually get on one, but I didn't have time, and I had some phone calls, and I probably watched 10 minutes of one or something, the first one. And they just shut it off. So I see I think he's got 5 up. And I don't know, I started with number 4. That's the first one I watched. And then I did number 3. I did 4 and 3 today. So I'm kind of going backwards. And you've got the ability to see what I'm watching, I'm sure, and he's probably scratching his head. Boy, isn't it the guy on YouTube that talks about permaculture all the time? You'd think he'd be smarter than that. Well, sorry, I never told in any of the videos that I'm exceptionally smart or anything. Matter of fact, ever since I got that tetanus shot, I have it harder to concentrate. Burnt me out, I think. I didn't know there was a vaccine court, or else I'd have filed suit on the bastards. So now I can't do it, it's too late. Alright, we're finished with this particular segment. Anyways, this flip is done. I'm not going to put the tarp on it because it is going to be storm and rain tomorrow. So let it soak up that water. So we'll get the sticks ready. Hopefully it rains all day Sunday and rains Monday for a while. And I gotta come out here and flip it again. Every 2 days I'm flipping. Ooh, that stuff is really nice. Breaking down. Warm. Here, let me show you what. That's wood shavings. After it's been through 5 flips. Now there's this number 6. I forget. That's the material. That was wood shavings. You can kind of see some here a little bit. Come on, focus. There you go. It's breaking down. It's getting pretty thin. Looks like we have a winner. And the winner is, it gets done by the end of May, so I can use it to plant up the system. Okay, we're done. Oh, thanks for watching.